1v1 Fedrid Folly, blue side. It's Toilailee plays a Plague Champion, starts off range combat with his damage of a Time Bolter, can get melee weapons, some decent utility and support, can build turrets and repair, but is very slow. Up against is Tex on the red side as a Force Commander, very good offense, fights in melee combat, can also tank, disrupt and support with buffs. Fedrid Folly then, northwest area has the two natural victory points quite close to each other. Southeast has a contested VP overlooked by these garrisons which are set into this wall here. A lot of people don't know about those, but they're there. Tactical Marines and CSM on the field, no surprises. So the Plague Champion, and not the most highly regarded commander or hero in terms of 1v1s, I think. Seems to be his Nurgle worship that gets most of the complaints from 1v1 players, seen as not nearly as scalable or useful in general as Zinch and Khorne worship. As a Plague Champion player myself, albeit in team games and 2v2s, I think he's pretty damn strong and his worship is pretty fine. But team games obviously hugely different to 1v1s in terms of how they play out. Team games are all about supporting and doubling when appropriate and having the awareness to do so, and also supporting and complementing your teammates' builds. In 1v1, map control is a much bigger consideration. Map control is obviously important in team games as well, but not in terms of your composition really. You don't really compose your army with consideration to map control because it's not that difficult to maintain as long as you are winning engagements. In 1v1s you can maintain map control without winning engagements if you are good enough with your positioning and movement and stuff. Scouts forced off by heretics there, unable to decap that VP. Look at this, Tex has actually noded this power. We might see some generators over here because it might be a bit of a slog for Toilailee to get over. Plague Champion obviously lacking mobility on a faction that in general is not very quick, but I do think his other traits make up for that. He is set to get some buffs though in an upcoming update. His worship will get some love in that it will now stack its effects on demons, vehicles and super heavy infantry. What that means is demons will get the extra health regeneration that currently infantry get, and so will vehicles, and I imagine so will Terminators, since they're the only super heavy infantry Chaos have, apart from the Great Unclean One who's a demon anyway. And with the upcoming changes to... ouch, down goes a Chaos Space Marine. With the upcoming changes to Terminator health regen, that could be incredibly powerful. Plague Champion forced off. He's got double Heretics, double CSM, which can be very, very damage heavy. If you get double Grenade Launcher Heretics with double CSM from range, you can put out insane amounts of damage. He's chasing down his Marines. Can he get a model? He does get a model. They take the garrison. And is Toilailee? Yep, they're both going to take the garrison. Can they shoot each other from here? Apparently they can. That's a bit weird. Devastator's on the field for Tex. We're most likely going to see a 1-1-1 build for him. And Toilailee might just get double Grenade Launcher Heretics to deal with that. Double Grenade Launcher Heretics are pretty damn effective at dealing with a single setup team. Surprising amount of damage comes out of those Grenade Launchers. And those guys are actually getting rebalanced as well, Grenade Launcher Heretics. The Grenade Launchers themselves are going to do 5 less damage, I believe, but their auto guns, 4 models have auto guns and 4 models have grenade launchers. The auto guns are going to do more DPS, taking them up to just over, I think it's 21 DPS piercing for the squad, and then you have the DPS from the grenade launchers. So not a bad little shooty squad. Not sure how I feel about the change right now, but I'm excited to test it out. Here are some grenade launchers. So you usually get the grenade launchers for that knockback, and that's not going to go away, and now you're going to have a little more sustained piercing damage coming out of the squad. Might be pretty nice. What are these Devastators up to? They're going to set up to cover these guys, cover the Force Commander as he tries to get in. No, they're not setting up. 392-484 is harassing power here, Toilailee, and Assault Marines are on the way. We might see him wait for those Assault Marines before he tries to engage here. Devastator trying to set up, needs to set up quickly. There we go. Toilailee's forces very, very split though. He's not going to be able to handle both sides. The Force Commander's taking a lot of damage. Force Commander's going to go down here. Heretics in retreat path, and the CSM and Plague Champion to shoot him up definitely goes down, and down he does go. And we do see a generator over here for Tex. And look at these scouts capping the crap out of everything. Has very good map so far. But that force corner loss is very annoying. In a 1v1 you can't rely on revives. You need to repurchase your commanders. The submarine's jumping the heretics. Well, not quite, but they did scare them off. Jump troops that start with chainsaws on bolt pistols. They can get a sergeant in tier 2 with a power sword. Disrupt enemy units when they land. 348, 484. So Toilailee is going to need to try and keep his forces separate. He doesn't want double CSM and heretics all getting jumped by those assault marines. Are we going to see the plague sword here? It's a really awesome melee weapon, which is also getting some love in an upcoming update. It's going to give him plus 70 hit points now. It's always been a very good impact weapon at dealing with jump troops and counter initiating in general, but doesn't have. You need to invest quite a lot in a plague champion to make him viable in melee, I always feel, with Mucus Discharge and Fetid, obvious choices in tier 1 to complement the plague sword. Not sure how much. I think it's 150 hit points from Fetid, or is it just 100? And then you'll have the plus 70 from the sword, and then that heal you can use. So you might see that plague sword a lot more often. Tactical marines are idle. Devastators covering this VP, which has been capped. There's the grenade barrage. Has he only got anything to follow it up though? Not really. And a submarine jumping in, we might see them disrupting him. Just back off here, back into the Devastators. It looks like that is what he's doing. And they don't lose a model. Tier 2 for Toilailee. You might see a quick blood crusher here. Great thing about the 111 build for Space Marines is that you have so much transitional anti-vehicle. As soon as you hit tier 2, you can get a missile launcher, you can get a las cannon, you can get a melter bomb. Something that a similar chaos build wouldn't be able to do with Raptors, Havocs and CSM. More power harass. Tactical Marines are there, cutting off their approach though. And looks like he's happy to cap mid right now. Might force off these Marines and then go for the power. Not much there to hit. Shotgun scouts. I very much hate facing double shotgun scouts. I think it's very powerful and somewhat underused in team games. If you're against a good player and he chains those shotgun blasts and positions your scouts well to get close for that extra damage, it can be incredibly difficult to deal with. Look at this triple cap for Tex and a blood crusher on the way for Toilailee. He's going to decap that power as well. He might have been able to get a couple of models off that squad if he turned to engage there in retreat. Assault Marines getting low on hit points. Devastators setting up, taking shots at the CSM but unable to suppress. If that was Havocs, it would have been suppressed instantly. Blood crusher is on the way. Tier 2 now for Tex. Force Commander still down though. And it does repurchase. 250 requisition to do so if you wait long enough, depending on level. He's got a full farm over here, so Toilailee should soon work out that something's up, that he's got this power locked down and Tex is still getting stuff on the field. Heretics within the sparring champion. Might see some touch of Nurgle action on those assault marines later on. Doesn't quite have the red. Oh, he does have the red for it now. 150 red for touch of Nurgle. There's a Doom Blast and here comes the Blood Crusher, a vehicle armor. It's a demon, so it benefits greatly from worship, and after the next update it's going to benefit very well from Nurgle worship in terms of health regeneration. Only 600 hit points on this guy, does good damage single target and has good mobility, but can go down incredibly quickly if he's caught without support, even for a few seconds, and there's anti-vehicle on the field. What is Tex going to go for in terms of anti-vehicle? He's going for the Melter Bomb and a Power Fizz, which will deal with the Blood Crusher pretty damn quickly, unless he has a lot of support immediately. Triple gens for Toilailee, not seeing any harassment up here. Blood Crusher backing away. You might have seen the grenade icon on the Assault Marines. Devastators looks like they want to keep their heavy bolter for now. Has he seen this power? He has. Blood Crusher's going after it. 168, 482, single cap for Toilailee. Looking pretty good at the moment. Maybe some Fetid would be good so he can suppress that Force Commander so he can't chase around the Blood Crusher. He's getting Artificer. No missile launcher though. So it's going to be down to the Force Commander to do most of the damage and deal with the Blood Crusher. He's going after the Devastators. There is the Power Fist. Can he get Flesh Over Steel off? There it is. And that's going to become a tracking ability in the next update. It's going to get its energy cost increased greatly, but it's going to be way more effective. And the Blood Crusher does not last long at all. Down it goes. Held up play reasonably well. That was a very good sneaky grenade. Killed a bunch of heretics there. Nice play from Tex. Devastators happy to hang back for now. Didn't even get to take down a generator here. Shotgun scouts shooting up the heretics. 268402. Tex using battle cry, as you see from the chat there, to prevent knockback from the grenade launchers. 2-to-1 cap. Have a Marine Sergeant. I wonder if he'll go for Stone Guard Veterans to use Hellfire on all these heretics. Devastators trying to flank, and this could be very nasty for Toilailee. And he needs to full retreat the heck out of there. Assault Marines now have their Sergeants. Gets that Power Sword model and gives them the awesome Merciless Strike, which causes all sorts of problems for Banshees and Aspiring Champion Heretics in Tier 2. And pretty much anything, Sluggers, Formagaunts, none of those guys like that thing. Chaos Dreadnought hits the field. We'll see how it does. I'm not sure that's what I would have gone for with Melter Bomb and that Power Fist. But we'll see. It does have good repair support from Double Heretics and the Plague Champion himself, who can repair Shotgun Blast on the Scouts. Now need to run the hell away though.
This is not the victory you promised us.
166373. There's capping. Can a Dreadnought get a model off these Assault Marines? There's the Melter Bomb. He's going to use melee attacks on them. No, he's trying to back the hell away because here comes the Force Commander. This might be a dead Dreadnought very, very quickly. He's trying to get in front of it to use Flesh Over Steel, and there it is. The guy's now completely disabled, and he's got Vengeance rounds on his Devastators, but he's not quite set up correctly to shoot at the Dreadnought there. And now lots of stuff to help support the Dreadnought. He came in just in time with his CSM and all these heretics. Why are these guys not shooting? There we go. 138373. Force Commander still going after the Dreadnought here. He has the Iron Halo, which is now dissipated. He might have to hit this thing down. Wow, I thought it was safe. One more hit maybe. No, Bloodletters teleport in and scare off the Force Commander. Bloodletters, Power Melee Demon Infantry. A superb unit. Just 400 rec, 40 power to get these guys on the field. Beastly power melee damage. They can also phase out and become invulnerable and teleport. They really are superb. More scouts on the way for Tex. And another Chaos Dreadnought on the way for Toilailee. Wow. Lack of power harass, allowing him to get a ton of stuff on the field. That's 120 power for each of these Dreadnoughts. That's 60 power for the Blood Crusher. Another 40 for the Bloodletters. He's really spent a hell of a lot of power. Tactical Marines with a Plasma Gun. Wow, tearing through those Chaos Space Marines. 26 Plasma DPS just from this Plasma Gun, I believe. Then you've got the other bolters, and you've got Kraken Bolts boosting the damage further. Chaos Space Marines losing a model to the Scouts as well. 117362. Toilailee happy to sit on this raised platform and lock down his natural VP. Some Devastators here to cap the contested. Tex just outnumbered here, having to use Devastators to cap, not what he wants to do. And here's another Chaos Dreadnought. Massive change coming in an upcoming update, of course, with melee walkers getting a melee resistance aura, something reserved for commanders and melee units at the moment, and some other units as well. Most Marines have melee resistance aura. 117351. Bloodletters going after the Force Commander, who's happy to engage heretics here, is he? He's level 2. Plague Champion has gone for the Plague Fist. I don't think he actually stunned anything with the Pestilent Strike there. 72 DPS heavy melee. But you mostly get it for the awesome Pestilent Strike ability, which gives you so much. That range damage resistance and that stun, and a shrine on the way here for Toilailee to really lock down this area. Devastators have capped the VP though here. But he has the mid, he has his natural power without a scratch on it. So he's happy to split off his double CSM and harass these Devastators. And he's got a pretty scary army right now, Toilailee. Another Devastator squad surely with a las cannon against double Dreadnoughts. He's going to the other side of the map with them though. As Vengeance rounds on one, so we can't give those a las cannon. Bloodletters are going to get a population reduction in an upcoming update, which is going to make certain tier 2 builds a lot more attractive, since you'll be able to get to tier 3 and actually get stuff on the field. Not just Cloud, just use to force off those Devastators. 200 red, bit of a waste perhaps, we'll see. Shrines being worshipped here, suppresses nearby enemies and heals nearby allies, and scouts get teleported on by Bloodletters. And has he realised here? I don't think he has. He's going to lose a squad. Ouch. Bloodletters, oh scary. Triple cap now for Toilailee. Can he hold on? There is touch of Nurgle on Chaos Space Marines. You do get extra damage since it's not on Heretics, but you can't make it happen whenever you want since you don't have the Doom Blast. He does have Mark of Khorne Chaos Space Marines with these chain axes, which are power melee weapons. Also get some plasma pistols, and his Sparring Champion gets a melter pistol. Triple cap for Toilailee. Is Tex going to be able to get himself back into this game in terms of VPs? It's looking so scary at the top. Bloodletters, a Nurgle Shrine, and double Chaos Dreadnoughts. And some extra Heretics who can worship as well. And a turret? Yes, a turret. You can do some pretty decent turret play up here. 97-244. Tech still has a scout squad level 2. They are infiltrating, but they will be spotted by the Sparring Champion of the Heretics. Double CSM needing reinforcements now. These guys not bothering, they're just going to go and decap here. Tech's having a look at what's up here and having some kind of heart attack probably. Is he really going to face this? Wow, I would have thought he'd just go and bash power and kind of skirt around it, but looks like he wants to fight here. 97-223. Devastators being used to shoot up the turret, are they? Looks like Assault Marine is going in, but there is so much scary stuff there. Wow, a Sparring Champion, Heretics, Bloodletters, even a Plague Champion now coming into play. Bloodletters jumping the Devastators. This is such a difficult composition to fight. He's got so much stuff to deal with here, Toilailee. He needs tier 3. He's Chaos. Turret being repaired. Does he have any more war gear? He does have the Icon of Nurgle. 97-210. What is Tex going to do? Is he going to try and ride this out to tier 3 Predator tank? Yeah, massive risk if he does. Tactical Marines are locking down this contested at least, but he's losing his natural. Scouts somehow able to steal Toilailee's natural. Why did the Bloodletters phase out there against Scouts? Maybe he thought they were going to chuck a grenade. 76-210. Maybe he did chuck a grenade. So 2-1.
Your units fulfill your
And he's going to take them on again. What's his plan this time? He needs to deal with that turret pretty quickly, obviously, since the Force Commander can't get into combat with that thing shooting at him. That's kind of sets up. Assault Marine is jumping into a world of her Heretics there. Mark of Khorne Chaos Space Marines there. That is painful. They don't lose a model though. That is Assault Marines for you. Now the Force Commander's in trouble. Getting chopped up by those chain axes. Plague Champion also there. Special attack from the Force Commander, allowing him to get away. Devastators also look like they're just about to get away. Yes, he's not losing units, but I don't think he should be throwing stuff here. We do have Tactical Marines harassing power in the meantime, I suppose. if he's got units doing things elsewhere. There's no harm in probing this area. Toilailee really is camped up here though. The turret did go down, but there's another turret here.
The victory you promised us.
More Devastators for Tex. He now has 4 Devastator squads. Wow, Marco Zinch on the way from this Dreadnought. Looks like tier 3 out the window for both players now. That power goes down. He can flank around and decap this maybe, and have a look at this turret in his face over. He can flank all the way around here, up the stairs, and then shoot it up. It will take a little while with the plasma gun. Scout trying to decap under infiltration. Plague Champion looking to get close enough to see them, and Bloodletters coming in also. And that Icon of Nurgle doing damage passively, and he almost lost the entire squad there. Here comes the Force Commander. We have double las cannons and a heavy bolter. Look at the damage the Dreadnought's taking. Is he not realizing this is happening here? Is it being repaired? It's not even being repaired. He's going to lose that Dreadnought. Down it goes. Force Commander capping his VP back. I should say Toilailee capping the VP. There's the Noxious Cloud forcing off all of those Devastators. They made very, very short work of that Dreadnought though. 7155. Here come the Tactical Marines. What can they do though, really? He's going to need a big distraction if he wants them to flank around and deal with the turret. I don't think he even knows the turret is there right now. You'll know in a second. There it goes. They will be able to cap under its fire, but I imagine Toilailee's not going to let that happen. Marco Polo CSM not engaging here. Now they go. Assault Marines jumping in. I don't think I've seen him use Merciless Strike. He wants to have that defensive jump, I think. 7144. Down goes the Sergeant immediately. Bloodletters teleporting in. Wow, tearing those Devastators to shreds. Absolute shreds. 7140. They get away though, the Scouts do not. And Tex just lost a bunch of stuff. He has so much red now, but he's not in tier 3. Plague Champion now has fetid armor. Assault Marines forced off. Dreadnought lives. Force Commander is going after it, but he's going to die here. Down he goes. 7137. That's pretty much GG. Yeah. Still has a las cannon, vengeance rounds, and a heavy bolt, and he's using a drop pod to reinforce all of his stuff. That's good usage. 7127. What does he do here? What do you do? I think he needs to keep his Force Commander back to try and counter-initiate those Bloodletters, and keep his Assault Marines back, and just let those las cannons do their work on the Dreadnought if he can. So I don't think those heretics will be able to out-repair it by themselves. If the Plague Champion helps, they might be able to. He's pushing forward here. He actually only has one las cannon. I think he should get another one. Another Chaos Dreadnought on the way. There's another Noxious Cloud, and a full retreat from Tex. He's just trying to get his VP back. 7104. I don't think he's going to be able to.
The enemy has 100 points remaining.
Force Commander's level 3? What is he talking about? Oh, the Bloodletters. Yeah. Scary, scary, scary unit, these guys. Especially if you get double Bloodletters and you're not facing a Walker. Devastator's covering the southeast. At least he has that. Here's a Markov Khorne Chaos Dreadnought. Just the day just gets worse for these Assault Marines. 70-80. It's a 2-to-1 cap. One last push maybe here from Tex, but I can't see him pulling this off. Toilailee just pushed out units after units. Bloodletters teleporting in. Right in the face of a heavy bolter, who then retreats. Bloodletters were just phased out, no problem for them. Markov Khorne Dreadnought using the Blood Rage 70-64 just to keep Tex's army off him. Tex happy to chase it down while his VPs tick down. Blood Rage is now over. Is he going to use Flesh over Steel? He might not have the energy if he doesn't use it quickly enough. Doesn't have the energy now, but he should be able to take down this dreadnought. That's good work. Deals with it. Got a bunch of XP since he did most of the damage as well. 70, 48. Tex finally tries to flank around. Don't think it's going to end any better because another turret comes into play. The Assault is jumping past everything, going after the turret. No, they go after the VPs, just desperately looking to get VPs. He's not going to be able to sustain this at all. Bloodletters now on the Assault Marines. There's the Merciless Strike, the first one I've actually seen him use. Let's look at the damage that these Bloodletters put on. Good grief, they're just erasing these Assault Marines. 70, 29. This is nuts. I've never seen the top, this raised platform, camped so heavily on this map. It's incredibly effective though, with those VPs so close to each other. When you have turret support, when you have shrine support. Very, very difficult to deal with. Yet another Noxious Cloud. That's like the third or fourth one. How much red has he spent? He also used a touch of Nurgle. He's killed so many Marines though, lots of red for him. Plague Champion now trying to cap 69-29. Toilailee not sending anything over to the southeast. He's lost a CSM squad along the way. And here's a Space Marine Dreadnought, 69-29. That's a las cannon turret though. Look at the damage this thing does. Smack. Wow. That was nuts. 1-to-1 cap. His heavy bolter turret is pretty lackluster, the Plague Champion, but his las cannon turret is amazing. Look at the firing arc this thing has. It's getting enough. Hey, people injured here. 1v1. Fedrid Folly, blue side. It's Toilailee plays a Plague Champion, starts off range combat with his damage of a time bolter, can get melee weapons, some decent utility and support, can build turrets and repair, but is very slow. Up against is Tex on the red side as a force commander, very good offense, fights in melee combat, can also tank, disrupt and support with buffs. Fedrid Folly then, northwest area has the two natural victory points quite close to each other. Southeast has a contested VP overlooked by these garrisons which are set into this wall here. A lot of people don't know about those, but they're there. Tactical Marines and CSM on the field, no surprises. So the Plague Champion, and not the most highly regarded commander or hero in terms of 1v1s, I think. Seems to be his Nurgle worship that gets most of the complaints from 1v1 players, seen as not nearly as scalable or useful in general as Zinch and Khorne worship. As a Plague Champion player myself, albeit in team games and 2v2s, I think he's pretty damn strong and his worship is pretty fine. But team games obviously hugely different to 1v1s in terms of how they play out. Team games are all about supporting and doubling when appropriate and having the awareness to do so, and also supporting and complementing your teammates' builds. In 1v1, map control is a much bigger consideration. Map control is obviously important in team games as well, but not in terms of your composition really. You don't really compose your army with consideration to map control because it's not that difficult to maintain as long as you are winning engagements. In 1v1s you can maintain map control without winning engagements if you are good enough with your positioning and movement and stuff.